Hey, brother. Hey, what color Christ is? Go forward, brother.
I said, if we in the image of Christ and they say he had bronze feet in his hair like wood, he look like me and you. That's right.
All praises. All praises. So do you know who you are according to the Bible?
According to the Bible?
Do you believe in the Bible?
I believe it's truth in the Bible, and I believe it's non-truth in the Bible.
So, come forward, brother. I mean, let's politic real quick.
When you say Bible, you know they got King James Version, you got no King James.
Well, you know Bible just only mean books, right? That's the format that was used during that time. We understand that it was scrolls, you know what I'm saying? But there's a format like, have you ever heard of the format PDF? Okay, this was a format that was used back then. The technology wasn't as smart back then for them to do it in that sense and manner. So it was translated like this in a book. So these are the real records.
That's right.
So when you say that it's some non-truth, right? What would you consider some non-truth out of the Bible? What is it that you read in there yourself now, not what you heard from somebody? So they got different ways.
Some of them are worded differently. Some of the Bibles are worded differently.
That has some truth. But the King James, who got the Bible dictionary? Bible dictionary, somebody. Watch this. I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to show you something. Dealing with King James Version. Because we understand that too. You're right. However, you're right. You have the English Standard Version, the NIV version. All of that is garbage. The King James Version is the most truest. Read this right here. All right, read.
This is The Hidden Treasure That Lies in Plain Sight, too, by Jeremy Shorter.
Okay, so that's the scholar that wrote this, right? Let's see what he said about King James. Read.
Page 5. Conclusion. King James I of England, who authorized the translation of the now famous King James Bible.
All right, so do you know the difference between an author and an authorizer? Because a lot of people, you hear a lot of people say King James wrote the Bible, right? You done heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
people write the Bible for him.
Huh?
He said he had many people write the Bible for him, like Shakespeare.
Okay, so you said Shakespeare, right? What scripture in the Bible that Shakespeare wrote?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? So you know what it boiled down to? A bunch of he say, she say.
Bring it on.
That's it.
That's why I said I don't know.
So what you're saying right now, that doesn't have no truth to it. Shakespeare did not write the Bible.
That's right.
Okay? So the difference between an author and an authorizer is this. An author is someone who writes a book. You understand? An authorizer is a person who has the power or the authority to have something published. So when it says that this is a King James Version Bible, King James authorized 47 of the best Hebrew and Greek scholars of his time to translate the Bible because they knew languages.
Right.
They understood languages. They knew how to interpret languages. You understand? So that's why we use the King James Version Bible, because it has the most rawest form of the interpretation of the Hebrew language. You understand?
Right.
So that's the reason why we're telling you that this Bible is a true book.
Right.
Whatever you heard, that's garbage. Because like I just asked you to prove it, you couldn't even prove it. Because really it was just something that you heard. So you kind of took that and ran with it. You see what I'm saying? And that's what our people do. We take something that sounds good and we run with it. You understand? So what I want to show you, when he finished reading this, I want to show you who you are according to the Bible, to show you that these is your historical records of your ancestors, all the way up until now. So the people who wrote the book was the prophets. The prophets wrote the testimonies. The Most High gave the laws, statutes, and commandments.
That's right.
You understand? So they gave the account of the testimonies. You see what I'm saying now? You follow me? Okay. All right, read this about King James.
Conclusion, page 5. King James I of England, who authorized the translation of the now famous King James Bible.
So you notice he was a king, right, of England. All right. The reason why he was a king of England, because he was ruling during the Dark Ages. You know why it's called the Dark Ages? Because most of the people at that time was black. Black people was ruling. So-called black people was ruling. You understand? Which what you'll find out was the Israelites. That's what we out here teaching. We showing you that our people once were kings and priests until we fell from God. So that's what we're reading about with King James now. He ruled during the Dark Ages. You understand? That's why it's called Dark Ages. Read.
Was considered by many to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, monarchs that England have ever seen. King James I was a black man.
He was a what?
Was a black man.
Because a lot of people think he was white. You got people saying that he was a homosexual, all that stuff. Read.
And many of his surviving paintings falsely depicted him as a so-called white man.
What?
As a so-called white man.
That's going into whitewashing.
Right.
That's what that's going into. Whitewashing. Like what you see right here. That's whitewash.
Right.
That right there is a more true depiction of how Christ looked. We're not saying that that's Christ in particular. We're saying that that's how he looked according to the scripture.
Right.
He had the white woolly hair. All right, finish reading that.
King James I was a black man. And many of his surviving paintings falsely depicted him as a so-called white man in clear contradiction.
And what?
In clear contradiction to the famous description of the Jolly King.
You see that? So, like I said, what you learned, or whoever told you that, they told you lies. And what you should have done was, you should have told them to prove it. That's what you should have done.
Right.
All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the scripts, and I'm going to show you for a fact that this is your history book.
Right now?
This is your history book. The Egyptian, the Egyptian book of the dead, that ain't going to tell you about who you are.
Right.
That don't tell you about who you are. The Buddhism, all those religions are garbage. And the Most High said that they was garbage. This is the one true book. And we're going to prove that today. Give me Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. Because what I'm about to give you now, I'm about to give you the real historical account of what happened to our people prior to coming to America. You understand? All right? Because have you ever heard the history of the Israelites going into slavery in Egypt? That's true. That happened. We built the pyramids. We built everything you see around us.
Right.
We were the what you call today brick masons. You ever heard of brick masons? We were the builders. We still building today. That's evident. You don't see no other nations going out doing that, do you? So that's one clue to show you that we are those same people from back then.
Right.
Those are our ancestors. We finna get into it now. What I was gonna tell you was, during that time, our people was delivered out of Egypt. We was delivered out of slavery up under the Pharaoh at the time. Moses delivered us out. So at this point in time, we was in the wilderness. So we was trying to make our conquest to Canaan, to the land of Canaan, which is what you would call today Israel, because it became a state in 1948 by the League of Nations. All right, so listen to this. Watch this. Verse 15. I'm going to jump straight into it, because when you read the whole chapter of Deuteronomy, that's going to pretty much bring down all the history. Sister, it'll be nice if you listen to what I'm bringing out. Good information. All right. From verse 1 all the way down to 14, tell you about the blessings we would have received if we kept God's commandments. But obviously that didn't happen. We chose the flip side, which were the curses. So let's find out. Verse 15, let's see what happened. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. Come on. But it shall come to pass.
So anytime it says it shall come to pass, that means prophecy is going to happen. So let's see the stuff that we about to read. Let's see, did it happen? You're going to be the judge of that, because your eyes and your ears are witness right now. You're going to be able to witness to what's going on. Read.
Right. If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
That word hearken means to listen carefully. He said, if you will not listen carefully to the words of the Most High God, read.
To observe.
To observe means to pay attention, read.
To do all his commandments.
To do what?
To do all his commandments.
That word do is an action word, right? So he said to do all his commandments. Watch this, read.
And his statutes.
Statutes is a subdivision of a law. Like, it's a little small law, but it's still a law. Like, for example, the Most High commanded all us brothers as men, we supposed to have beards on our face.
Right.
That's a badge of manly dignity. That's considered a statute. That's a small law. But however, the Most High still want us to keep that law because that's how he separate us from the women. You understand? All right, read.
In his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses.
All these what?
That all these curses.
Is a curse a good thing or a bad thing? Bad thing, right? All right, read.
Shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So he said that it should come upon us and overtake us if we broke the commandments, right? So now we're going to go into some of the curses that took place. And I want you to be a witness to this. Read. Here go one curse right here.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48.
Bring it out.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
They said that we were going to serve our enemies. Are we not doing that today? Weren't we doing that back then? The Most High said we're going to serve our enemies. Watch this. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Who sent them against us?
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Read.
In hunger.
In hunger. Who owned Burger King? Who owned Popeyes? Wendy's. Dairy Queen. Walmart. Walgreens. CVS. Our enemies own these. You see what I'm saying? The scripture is true. Read on. Watch this.
And in thirst.
And if you want water, water is a natural resource that falls free from the sky. They run pipelines up under the ground just to make you pay for it. That's a curse, bro. Water is free. It's a curse. You understand? Read.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness, the clothes that we all have on out here. If you flip the tag, it say made in China, India, Japan, Russia, Italy. See what I'm saying? That's our enemies. That's who the Most High called our enemies.
Right.
He said we're going to serve our enemies for the clothes that we wear. Now, let's say if you're thinking about rappers like Sean John, T.I., Young Jeezy, you know they got their own little clothing brands, right? But they don't own the textiles to those clothing. So guess what? It's technically not theirs.
Right.
You understand? So we still serving our enemies for it.
Teach us.
All right, read.
And in want of all things.
And in want of all things, like if you want a job, you got to serve your enemies. If you need unemployment, you got to serve your enemies. If you want education, if you want to be buried, if you need a death certificate, EBT, WIC,
Bring it on.
driver's license, social security card.
Bring it on.
You got to go to your enemies for all of that.
Right.
You understand? So the scripture is true. Read.
And he shall.
And he, meaning the enemy, right? It said, and he, letting you know that it's a man. That's what it's letting you know. Watch this. Read.
Shall put a yoke of iron.
Do you know what a yoke of iron is? This right here is a yoke of iron. For y'all that don't know, a yoke of iron is a shackle that goes around your neck. That's what a yoke of iron is. It said, and the enemy shall put a yoke of iron around your neck and what?
Shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Come on.
Until he have destroyed thee.
So you notice he said, until he have destroyed thee, right? So why isn't the yoke of iron on our neck now? Because we destroyed. Exactly. So just by you knowing that we mentally destroyed, right? We are still mentally enslaved. That's letting you know we're still slaves.
Right.
You're still a slave. Just because you ain't out in the fields, on the other tip, you do have some of our people that's still out in the fields. But for the most part, we in warehouses and stuff now. All of that came about during the Industrial Revolution. Understand? So that's when we became, you know, the technology got better, so now we start working inside. More than you see than back then. You understand? So what we're reading right now is Bible prophecy.
Right.
Letting you know that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans make up the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yes.
Anybody that's not keeping the commandments and they telling you something about this Bible, don't even listen to it, bro, because it's garbage.
Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcast, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.